What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 36 of the NERDcast. Was it 36? Yes, 36.
Yes.
I just said that. Well, it was like I was debating when I was going to title this one. I was like, is this one 36 or is this one 37? Because...
It's 37.
Because
whenever you name an episode, you should put 30 or 40 with a question mark.
I decided... Okay, I'm going to finish the intro, but I'm going to tell you this. But I decided on how it's going to work, okay? But first, I'm Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by Danny.
Hello, everybody.
And Will.
Hello.
But yes, I came to the conclusion of how I'm going to figure this out, okay? Because I said that we decided that the Halloween episode wasn't going to technically have a number. It was going to be like a special.
Oh, Lee, you're throwing everyone off.
So
Wait.
Yes.
Wait.
So it's not going to be a number. So then I decided that, okay, so then this one would technically be 36 because the one before the Halloween was 35. Right? Are you following me so far?
I'm following.
Yeah.
So then I decided, I was like, wait a minute. Because I'm the one that's in control here, I can just decide the fate of this. And so I decided that all of the lost episodes or any other episode is also a special, so we're technically on track.
Oh, God.
I just asserted it right now.
Brilliant. That is brilliant.
Laying down the NERDcast law hammer.
Oh, my God.
So,
Jeez.
Gives
us more credit. We should get some more. We get some money to send NERDcast to Mars.
In the unlikely event that this explodes and we have millions and millions of listeners, and somebody goes back and is like, well, according to the NERDcast lores, we've noticed that you only have this many episodes, and technically this one wasn't an episode, and then I can just say, shut up. It was a special.
Shut up. Watch episode 36.
You have no say.
I just really hope that happens someday.
Yeah, that would be nice.
See, we've had
Even
listeners.
just for that joke to pan out.
We have had listeners. A few of my friends at work have listened to it. A few of my friends from school have listened to it.
Listen to it in a way that it was like they were actually listening to it, or listening to it like, I can't believe that this exists because it's so terrible. Ironically listening to it.
First one. No, the first one. A friend of mine said it made a great pastime while he was at work, which I'm like, I hope your bosses don't see you do that or hear you listening to what we have to say. Believe me, you'll be fired.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah. People are talking. People are talking about our stuff.
Cool.
We are trending on nothing. Right?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
I guess we'll go into our first topic. I kind of wanted to talk about ARGs, or alternate reality games. And what?
Sorry.
Well, I have to clarify.
Okay.
So my question was, and this kind of relates to like the thought of either something like a Google Glass device, but not really, even though it could also work with just phones. But this is what I'm picturing. It would be like some sort of technology that doesn't exist yet that would utilize this kind of game. But so basically, it was like, would you play a game that required you to do things in like the real world for rewards in the game?
Nope.
So like,
Nope.
Well, no, just let me finish here. So it would basically be like the game. Let's say that this is just a random setup because it could be a million different things. So let's say that the game is like, it's supposed to be like a spy game, right? So you have to go around the city and do things and to advance your secret mission that you're on that nobody else in the world can know. So that's part of the thing, is like, you know what you're doing and why you're in this area, but nobody else really knows. They just think you're there doing normal things. And so it could be something like you have to pick up like dead drops, which would be like you go to a GPS coordinate, which could be something like if you're in a big city, it could be like, oh, you go to this fountain or a monument or something like that, right? And then and so you could do something like that, and it's like, and then you could also like meet with consultants, which is like somebody else who's also playing the game meets up at the same place, so you can actually like meet a real person. and that sort of thing. And then,
See, there's someone that I work with who actually does this.
is this like a real thing? Well, I know
thing...
there's things that are somewhat like this, but not to the scale that I'm picturing it.
No, I don't think it's the scale that you're picturing, but like, this guy I work with and a few friends of mine from my old program, they play something like this where you have to go. It's more like a scavenger hunt kind of thing.
Okay, is it like, you mean like geocaching?
Yeah, and it has to do with like a card game. I don't know what it is. I really didn't ask because I really wasn't interested, but they seem to like it, so there's a market for it. But I'm gonna let you continue, but my heart is no.
That was pretty much the blurb that I had written down for the note for this. But yeah, what I'm kind of picturing is like... What?
No, sorry, I just said wrong. You had the same blurb.
What do you mean? Blurb is a funny word?
I found it funny.
Oh, okay.
No, yes.
Moving on.
But yeah, I kind of pictured like it as...
Yeah.
It's sort of like, I don't know, it would just be kind of weird to think that, like, this is a big game, so, like, it would be, let's just picture it as, like, an app on your phone, and so it could be, like, you get into some sort of this secret database, right? And so then you're going through, and it's, like, you can, like, going to that area will, like, unlock, like, some kind of dossier, right? And so then you kind of read about, like, something, and I've also heard of, like, in real, ARGs that happen right now, where people have to, like, you have to collectively, like, solve a mystery with everybody else in the... It's like an MMO ARG sort of thing. So, I mean, like, this sort of thing could technically be, like, I guess you could have a premise as, like, you have to find the big bad guy sort of thing, right? And so you're competing with, like, everybody else who's playing the game, who's also, like, a spy, let's say, and they have to find out who it is. But you have to also work together with other people. Is the bad guy
a real person?
It could be. It could not be, or like it could just be somebody that's like it's the vehicle to do things, right? Because then like, and it could just be like you unlock like a story section, or you unlock like a small video that you watch of like something. It could be anything, right? And it could just be an ongoing process. So like, let's say that somebody like Danny, you work at the Mac store, right? So then let's say that you were playing this game. And you are, like, you get assigned a duty where it's, like, you have to blend in as what you're doing, right? And so then, like, and this would also kind of, it could be somewhat privacy invading because you'd have to give the app a lot of information. But anyway, let's say that it knows that you work there, right? Or that you work a job, like, where you have to interact with people, let's say.
Yeah.
And so then somebody else wants to play this game, and then they come up to you, buy something, right? Or even might not even buy something. They just come up to you and say some code word, and you know the code word, but you have no idea who's going to come up to you, when they're going to come up to you, how they're going to say it, like anything. You just know the code word, and when somebody says the code word, then you have to give them some kind of information. And then after that, it could be like whatever. You could be like, oh yeah, you play the game, blah 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 blah. And it's just like you can just go back to real life personality, and then I just think it would be kind of cool. It'd be difficult, but it'd be cool.
It sounds like it'd be cool.
I just think it sounds impractical. Like, I don't know what it is that makes me say that, but I think of it similar to, like, it sounds cool, but so does virtual reality, like the Oculus Rift. They sound cool, but I can't really see... I can actually see more with VR than any ARG. I don't...
Like,
I'm trying to back myself up here without sounding like an idiot, but...
Like, when you're actually doing things in the real world, like, this is what I'm saying, you don't really need a Google Glass for it. It could just be your phone. Because you're not actually, like... Things aren't projected into the world, right? Like, it's actually the real world that you're doing these things in. But it's to get things in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's just like a personal thing where I, like, if, in terms of games... I like to be sitting on my ass doing nothing.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing, like, it could be how much you want to put into it. Like, you could be doing things, because there's been actual ARGs where it's like you have to comb through web pages and stuff, right? To find, like, codes written in, like, different, on different things. and that's all like been programmed by somebody. So like you could do that too, because you could also say like, oh, your spy mission also involves like heavy data monitoring, blah blah blah, right? And that's an aspect. So you could find keys to the thing like just doing that. You could also do it by like you could say like have some mini game kind of thing, and it could actually be like a real game where you like I say a real game, but I mean like a traditional game where you actually sit down and play some sort of component, and it works the same way. But you could also do things in real life, and that has an aspect to it, right? But at the end of the day, it's all working towards this big goal of whatever you want to set it as.
Again, it sounds interesting. Like
I think it'll be a step in a direction of like, because wearable tech is going to become a thing, and regardless of what the condition of it is now and the quality and the public opinion of it, it's going to happen.
It's going to change. Look at the same thing they have with like smartphones and tablets.
Well, yeah, because 10 years ago or whenever, let's say not 10 years ago, but like when smartphones came out, who would have thought that your parents, your grandparents are all going to have these phones, right?
Who would have thought that it would have became more shocking to see someone with a phone?
Yeah.
That's
like,
true.
It used to be like in the past, like around the time like the iPhone came out and when like the first Android phones came out, or even like BlackBerry, but BlackBerry. But it's when I remember for like the first, I had one of those like LG Rumors, the really like slider phones. I had those until like 2011. So up until then, I always thought it was weird to have a smartphone. And so now I look back, and if I see someone like I have a friend who has a flip phone, when I see him with his flip phone, it always just makes me go like, oh,
just cringe.
I'm so sorry for your phone.
Like I don't like your life, your choices. I don't know what to say.
I can't support them, but you keep doing you.
It's like your beliefs. It's like some have different ones, but it's the same thing. Like
some of them are wrong.
Some of them like you'll. Like, my boss actually has a Moto 360, that watch that Motorola wore, the one with Android Wear, and he's been walking around so smug about how wearable he is with his tech, and just I look at it and with wearable tech, it's the same thing I have with ARGs. It's more like, okay, that's cool in concept, but as you're demoing it, this is laggy, this is buggy, it's absolutely not responsive at all, and I don't really see a proper use for it. Like, I don't want to be reading emails on my wrist.
Yeah, I get that. But
I don't want to be...
I'm more interested in just the concept of, like, that's an aspect of it. And I mean, like, you could also argue that, okay, once you introduce an actual, like, game part of the game, because the whole thing would be a game, but I mean, like, once you introduce a traditional sit-down with controller or keyboard game, it's going to, like, decentivize people to actually go out and do the other component that you probably work so hard on.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, it's also going to... It would also have the difficulty of wherever you are in the city, coordinating with someone else who's playing, coordinating with, like, let's say you're in Grimsby. Obviously, that Grimsby's not going to be high up on the pole of, okay, here's an iconic landmark to meet someone. Whereas it's like, okay, New York City or Toronto or
iconic
LA.
landmark in Grimsby.
Go to Teddy's.
We have Teddy's.
We have the skate park.
We have the skate park. Yeah, we have a Teddy's.
You can go up to the Hawk Tower at Beaver Point.
There's Park School because it's older than most landmarks.
Gateway.
Yeah, Gateway. That's a landmark.
Pick a Tim Hortons. There's 40.
Yeah. I was about to say Timmy's.
40. But no, you get what I'm saying though. That it's just like if on a development scale, you can't develop like for every small town in the world, I guess, because if you're going to play across the world.
Well, unless you just pick like a random GPS location, like go to the middle of the escarpment.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was just like you're in an ocean or a lake.
where the igneous rocks meet the sedimentary rocks. What the fuck?
No, I guess another thing could be like instead of because I mean like when you're playing in a game, let's dial it back a bit. Let's not even talk about the ARG. Let's just talk about game design in general. If you're talking about like if you're playing with somebody online, you have to play through that game's client, right? Like you're on like an in-game friends list, or even in like console or in Steam friends list, right? So you're restricted to that point. So let's say that you have a game where to do something in the game, you have to actually like go out and either call them or text them or send them an email like through whatever means you want, not just through the game, right? So like actually contacting somebody.
Hmm.
How do you
I'm
think
going
that
to tell
would
you
go?
a story about communication.
And I understand that this, before you get into your story, that this is relying heavily on people not being douchebags, which is the fatal flaw. But anyway, Will, you can continue with
It's
your...
Fatal flaw of
default.
gaming. Yeah, sorry, just one thing about trying to actually reach someone. Today, I tried to do the impossible, and I tried to call Mark's cell phone.
Why did you even consider that as an option to partake in?
Because it seemed like the fastest route to get the information that I wanted.
The fastest route is calling the police and looking for a missing persons report.
Well, no, the
Putting his
fastest route
picture
for
on a
me would
milk
probably be
carton.
to drive back to Grimsby, knock on Mark's door, and then drive back to Ottawa.
You just ask him a question. Hey, Mark, you ready to go? Yeah, I'll be ready in 10 minutes. All right, I'll meet you there.
See you in 8 hours.
I got my answer through Facebook a couple hours later, but
Not even from the phone.
yeah, don't turn on.
Like, did he know his phone was ringing and just chose not to answer it?
It went straight to voicemail every time I tried.
Does he just shut his phone off?
I believe so.
Is this to conserve battery? Because he probably hasn't wasted a single thing of battery power at all.
Still in the original charge.
For sure, his old phone survived on one charge for a couple years.
Oh my god, what phone does he have right now?
I don't know. I only just found out what he's studying.
What's he studying?
I'm pretty sure it's social science.
Is he still at Mac?
No, he's done at Mac.
Because if he was still at Mac, they'd have to have like the Mark wing of the school for all the tuition that he's paid and not actually graduated a course.
No, hold on. Now
Jumping.
this,
Well, no, not against him. Just because he keeps jumping programs, right?
this is what I'm really confused. I've been at Mac for Lord knows how long, and I've had classes with Mark. We've hung out. We've hung out in classes in different faculties. I took them as electives. I don't even know if they were mandatory courses for him. What degree does he have?
Social science.
That is the most vague description ever.
It took me 5 years to get this little tidbit of information, Danny.
It's almost as vague as like English major. It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah, theater major.
That's
here's
professional
what
unemployment
I've learned.
specialist.
I actually call it the
Degree
theater major.
hope.
Being trained to lie to you.
What?
But here's what I've learned about being at Mac for. This is my 5th year at Mac. This is what I've learned. When you're in your first year, it's don't worry, you have a lot to go. Second year, it's okay, start time to figure things out. Third year, full steam ahead. Fourth year, you're almost there. Fifth year, why the hell are you here?
Mine went like first year, you got tons of time, you don't have to worry about anything. Second year, you still got a bit of time. It's still a whole other year, but yeah, you can start considering things. Third year, why didn't you do this first year? That was my experience.
You didn't switch programs, so you basically. I took 3 years of environmental science, and now I forget.
You're just
everything.
like, nope.
Oh no, I just meant in
Like-
general about everything.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
School, everybody. We have a podcast about the problem with the education system.
Oh, God. We have to bring Mark in for that, if we do.
That'd be more like the
We should
problem
have
with the Marx system.
We should have
Actually-
an episode where Mark literally tells us what he's been doing for the past 5 years.
Well, did I ever tell you guys
Oh.
that Mark and I invented a punctuation?
I don't think we have 5 hours to dedicate to that podcast, Danny. But anyway, what punctuation did you invent?
Back I think it was in grade 11, Mark and I invented super caps, because I'm not sure if you two know this, but all of our Facebook conversations since like grade 10 have been in caps lock, and we needed some way to emphasize this. So if you put 3 asterisks on either side of whatever you want to emphasize, that's super caps. But if you have another punctuation inside of the super caps, you have to put it after the super caps. So if you have a comma, you have to do super caps, comma, another super caps.
Okay.
I'm shaking my head.
Yeah. Mark.
So yeah, I guess getting back to ARGs, it seems like you don't really like the idea.
I don't. It's just.
It intrigues me, and it has potential. But
See,
I'm not
I'm
sure
trying
what
to do
other
this thing
genres
like
would work
what.
with it apart from spy.
Oh, I mean,
Like,
you could work
would
in
be-
other things, right? Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
There's just such about it that's like I don't know.
I feel like it could go really, really wrong if someone takes it too seriously.
Well, I mean, and
I
that
just
could
feel like
also
the
be an
amount
aspect of the
effort
game.
involved just doesn't make sense.
Because I mean, like, you could have it where, okay, literally the only goal is to solve this mystery or whatever. In this example, right? It could be to do whatever, right? Then you as a player could say, okay, now my mission is going to be to screw everything up for everybody, right? And then you could be like sort of a pseudo villain, right? And I mean, like, that could be a gameplay aspect of whether or not, like, so it's a literal freedom of what you want to do. And I mean, like, just from a game design perspective, that's interesting in and of itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just think the amount of effort and resources that would need to be put into making these things a reality is a little bit too much.
Well, and that's what I said, like, we need technology, like, that's developing to be doing something like that, right? Like, what we have now couldn't currently really support that.
Yeah, but even when we get, like, even when the technology for that is invented or is developed or evolves, I feel like by that time we'll have a better use for it.
Yeah.
Like, see, because it's one of those weird things where we're looking in our heads right now and we're like, okay, so we want to do ARG, but if it's really, really, really gonna take off, people would be working on the technology right now. Like, and I mean like full steam ahead, working on it, wanting to get this out as fast as we can. And if that's not happening, I don't know if it is because I haven't researched it. So tell me if I'm wrong here. What I'm trying to say is like if when that technology is invented, I feel like it'll be invented for something better, something that means more, something that is required.
Okay, well, I'm talking about it in like a game aspect, a video games aspect,
like,
not.
Like,
No, and I'm saying the same thing. Like, what if, like, let's say virtual reality takes off, and this technology can be used in virtual reality. I don't see how it ever would be.
No.
Well, you could argue that at that point in a virtual reality game, this would be literally identical to what I'm describing, except for the fact that you're in a fantasy world. Like, you physically... we're going to have to think of a new term, because you are technically physically in that world in the aspect that your head is looking like you're seeing this landscape, you're seeing orcs or aliens or zombies or whatever it is that's in the game, right? You're seeing that and experiencing it, but it's all in your head. Meanwhile, this would be pretty much identical, except for that it's the real world that's happening around you.
And it just has go outside.
Yeah, it just has gamified aspects in it. And that also connects to something about, like, if for, like, just gamification of things in general, right? Because, like studies have shown that if you actually make a good game that's, like, incidentally teaches you things, right? Like, or makes you want to learn about things, it teaches you much better than just either a regular course or a traditional educational game that just, like, hey, do this math problem and you unlock this thing and you go next, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, how many times have you been playing something like in Mass Effect or in, like, and you see it's like, what is that? Is that a real thing? Or what is that line alluding to, right? And then you look up and it's just like, oh, okay, now I want to know everything about how far along we really are on like pulse drives or something like that, or like something like a complicated thing like that. Or you could be like a literary allusion that's made in a game. It'd be like, is that like this ship is named after something? Is that like significant to something that happened in real life?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I see what you're going at.
so then you just look that up and learn it on your own. Nobody told you to learn that. It wasn't necessary to the story or anything, right?
Yeah.
So by doing like gamifying something in real life, it's making you learn real life.
Yeah, like the one thing I keep coming back to is that if Google Glass gets big and the iPad becomes obsolete,
Google Glass won't get big. They're
if it gets big, then somebody's going to make Candy Crush Glass for it or something, and then we're gonna have to deal with that.
You understand that if they make Candy Crush Glass, I don't want to exist on this planet anymore?
Oh, trust me, I'll come with you. Send Nerdcast to Mars.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
I think that the actual Google Glass will not be anything good.
No,
but it'll be something like
idea.
that. Well, the concept will be big.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to like for like Google Glass. I feel like this is literally alpha for when you can put in just microchips in like regular sunglasses, and that automatically changes it to like.
They've already been testing like self-powered ocular implants that do the same thing.
That's pretty freaking cool.
Well, have you guys seen those like witchcraft glasses and they get darker when you go outside?
No.
The transitions lenses.
Witchcraft.
The witchcraft glasses?
Witchcraft.
No.
The thing that's like you could just pay like $50 extra on like any pair of glasses and they give it to you.
Witchcraft.
And they've been doing it for like a decade now.
Witchcraft.
Okay, I just think that that concept is interesting, and like in terms of how video games work, it's something that's probably going to happen at least to a degree, or should at least be tried out. I think, in my opinion,
everything gets tested.
Yeah,
everything will get tested, and it will become an application in some way. It'll just depend on whether or not there's like a market for it.
Yeah,
which I personally, my guess is that there won't be, because of like games or gaming in general is similar to what you get in like movies. Is that a lot of it is a form of escapism, and doing that kind of stuff, like going around, even going on websites or going around.
It would be an escapism because you're not life. You're the super spy that nobody knows about.
Secret agent Jim McDaniels.
Well, I'm going on the whole escapism is laziness.
Yes.
That's what I'm going at here.
I'm just saying that, I can get what you're saying, but and a form of escapism could be like derived from this medium.
Oh no, it most definitely can. But everything like I've seen with in terms of like gaming or even like film viewing, nothing beats like in film viewing, for instance, the classic sitting in a theater watching a film, or sitting on a couch or playing a game, or sitting in a computer chair playing a game. PC Master Race.
Boo.
Yeah, but just the very fact that okay, let's say that I'm trying to figure out how to compare this. I also kind of want to wrap up too, but I'm getting into another topic. But let's take it as if we look at video games as like, let's say that the traditional way and the, for lack of a better term, the correct way to play video games is sitting in front of a TV with a controller, okay? And then now you have this fringe movement, and I'm speaking like purely hypothetical and whatever, but this fringe movement.
Do we know that Lee is starting this fringe movement in secret?
No. Well, you could argue that's already started, but this fringe movement that's using motion controls and actually getting up off the couch and moving in front of a TV, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that like 10%. No, 10% of like the video game market is these motion controls. In terms of the overall outlook, that's not very big. But then you want to look at movies, and let's say that the correct way to watch a movie is in a theater. Not even at home, in a theater, right? So now all of a sudden you have this, like, how many different ways can you watch a movie in a theater? Well, I mean, you could, like, do the Disney thing where it's like they throw, like, they pump smoke into the room, or different smells, or they spray water in your face and the chair moves and all this garbage, right? So let's say that there's 5% of people that are trying to get it to be that way, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, it's there are different ways to do things, and just because it's small doesn't mean it's insignificant or incorrect. And I mean, like, motion controls have gained a footing, whereas the example of that I said in movie theaters, how many movie theaters have you seen that have, like, moving seats in them? None?
Gaming's versatility allows it to happen.
Yes, and I mean, that's the advantage of the medium, the inherent advantage.
Yeah, like, because I do agree with you there. Like, you know the whole thing where everyone's talking about how like they'll compare the gaming industry to like the film industry, even though that's a total comparison because
You
get
might as
really
well
shitty,
compare
crappy.
it to the book industry because it has the same merit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, I'm just talking about like you get.
I know, I'm just saying.
$100 million blockbuster games, but like with the film industry, you really can't much outside of the mainstream film industry apart from independent works or like artist films. Or like while in the game industry, because the game industry relies solely on technology and your interaction with the technology, the possibilities are endless. Some genius guy can come up with a ridiculous concept and it can turn it into a game.
Well, I mean,
Flappy Bird.
just the fact that like even today, you could argue that this is like with the indie game development and the indie industry, like you could say that it's like leaps and bounds ahead of where it used to be because we've gone 30, 40 years of video games now. Even if it's like still with a controller or with a keyboard, there are people that are doing revolutionary things with that exact same medium, right? Like within the confines of that, not even breaking the chains. Like, that's remarkable. Or to think even in the movie industry, there are people that are still doing the same thing, still making the same genre, like same style, 100 years later, and still doing revolutionary things. Like, there's a lot of ways to go, and it can only expand. So
it's such a like I would have to do like days of research on this topic in order to have a proper.
Oh yeah, I mean, and even I haven't done this. I just have like proposing the idea, right?
Yeah, it's really tough to consider.
Well, yeah, you're basically predicting the future, right? At that point.
Yeah, and I can't predict the future in a podcast.
All right, I think we kind of discussed ARGs and their potential enough, so you can move on to the next topic if you want.
Sure, let's do it.
You want to talk about Overwatch for a bit?
Awesome.
Yeah, let's talk about Overwatch.
I have notes.
So, I don't think they've released anything else other than like what's on their website and like the cinematic trailer and like the gameplay trailer. That's pretty much all that is out there, right?
I think so, yeah. Maybe a couple people talking about playing it at BlizzCon, but yeah.
Well, it was playable at BlizzCon, right?
Yes, it was. I've heard things about it.
Yeah, because from what I've seen, it looks like. My only fear with it is that there's going to be so much going on that balance is going to be such a huge issue, and they're going to have the classic one character is going to be incredibly overpowered and just wreck it for everybody. And but the thing is like go on.
I was gonna say, judging by the fact that like there have been people, I haven't been playing the game or really paying attention to it because it doesn't really appeal to me too much. But I've been hearing like Hearthstone is. People have just been saying it's so outrageously unbalanced.
Like, oh god, Hearthstone is broken.
Yeah,
I've never played Hearthstone.
I love Hearthstone, but it's broken.
So just the fact that people are saying that and that's pretty much a valid concern for Overwatch.
You know what I honestly think Overwatch is a big chunk of? Do you guys know what Heroes of the Storm is?
It's the third StarCraft, right?
No, that is Heart of the Swarm.
It's supposed to be an accessible MMO. Or, not MMO, MOBA.
But the thing about it is that all of the characters in Heroes of the Storm are characters from other Blizzard games.
Right, okay.
So now they're making Overwatch. They're going to have at least 12 new characters to pull from just to add to that game. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. I'm not sure it's going to tie into Hearthstone. I have so many notes on this game. I was going to make a short series, and I probably still will. Yeah.
It doesn't appeal to me as much. I'm in the same group as Lee.
Hearthstone doesn't. Overwatch is appealing to me.
Yeah.
No, Hearthstone.
No,
Yeah.
Hearthstone's fun.
It's like a card game.
Too much on RNG's favor, but
like I can totally see it, and like I could even see myself probably trying it out because I've considered it, but I don't know. It's
free.
Just, yeah. So. But Overwatch, to me, it's just like the more and more I look at it, it's like you can see so many things from other games, from other genres even, just coming into one. And that's,
actually,
in itself,
it's really funny. In the actual trailer, one of the characters, the sniper, what's her name? Widowmaker.
Yeah.
She actually, the line she says in the gameplay trailer is a line from Hearthstone, which I found really interesting. Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of Easter eggs in this thing, isn't there?
Oh, there's going to be so many.
It's Blizzard.
Yeah.
Now, see, when I saw the gameplay trailer, I kind of like the variety.
Oh yeah.
That it comes in the game because that's what Blizzard's known for. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's just I haven't seen enough.
Well, no, it's only been almost a month since they announced it. Beta starts in early 2015.
Yeah, but like I feel like it's like Team Fortress 2, but just a lot crazier.
Yeah, and Team Fortress 2 is almost 10 years old now?
Yeah.
But what I'm going at with is like for Team Fortress 2, if that's like TF2, I don't care. TF2 was good.
It was very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so I'm gonna play it.
You can it's weird because you can see the TF2 in it. You can see MOBAs in it, in the way they have like alt moves and it's just the amount of things that's like it. You can see that it's kind of also appealing for the MOBA route. You can see even the characters are kind of somewhat inspired like the similar art design to the major MOBAs that are out now. Like
it's probably going to be a bit of a strategy game feel to it too, like StarCraft.
Yeah. And I hope that's my biggest hope for it, and also my biggest fear, aside from any bugs or game-breaking balance issues, but my biggest fear would be that they have all these classes, we'll have 4 different, classes sort of thing, and if they don't, really play well with each other...
characters from what I've seen.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's offense, defense, tank, and support, right? Those are the 4 classes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if those classes don't really play well together, then... I don't know, it just seems kind of weird. I mean, if you're playing TF2 and you have a team full of soldiers, you're probably not going to get very far, but at least you can somewhat competently perform. But I mean, then if you're playing TF2 and you have a team full of medics or snipers, you're going to get your ass handed to you. Right? So I mean, I don't want any one thing to stand out. I don't want any one thing where it's like, okay, we can all just rock this one character and destroy, or hey, we all picked this same character, we're gonna get wrecked, right? I want it to be like, okay, yeah, you can play this class, but you have a fatal flaw that needs to be picked up by another character, right? And on the same thing, it's like your strength is this person's fatal flaw, so you need to help them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the tank can be a good class, but if it's literally just okay, I just run in and bullet sponge,
if we're closer to a wall than a tank, we have a problem.
It's going to be kind of boring. I mean, you still have to be vulnerable, right? You still have to have a strategy okay, if I run in here, kill this guy or kill that guy, or at least distract them, and then here's my escape route, then, okay, yeah, then you have a strategy built, and you're not just, doopy-doo, I'm here. Fire at me, right?
What is it? One of the characters I saw in the trailer, the last one, he looks like a literal tank, and these are my exact notes, word for word. Tank, shield, hammer, kill, smash, charge. Those are my exact notes.
It's fair. Very fair.
So yeah, I hope that it's other games have probably, done it effectively enough, but I hope that this game has a particular emphasis on the cooperation and class compatibility aspect.
I think Blizzard's usually pretty good about that, just from my StarCraft experience.
And I mean, like they could also tap into like a WoW thing where it's like if you're going on like a raid and you need like you need this class there, you need this class to do that, right? Like not just like it'd be good if we had somebody doing this. No, it's like you need that person.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if that was what Overwatch was like.
I hope good things for this game.
Yeah.
I'm really I'm in need of a new game to play. Apart from don't say Pokemon because that is going to happen.
Pokemon Danny.
I'm going to be playing Pokemon. Shut up. But there's like nothing really exciting on the horizon apart from maybe Uncharted 4. But Lord knows if that'll even come out in 2015.
But yeah,
I just want a new game to play. But I want a new game to play. See, because the longer I've gone, not playing Destiny with Will. Will, I don't know what your thoughts are on, like still on in that game.
I've put Destiny down until the DLC comes out.
It's not. See, even when the DLC comes out, I really don't want to go back.
No.
Because there's like I'll go back if like you're ever like, hey guys, like let's play a game. I'll be like, sure.
Yeah,
but
I don't feel compelled to play it anymore. I've hit a wall.
It's not that like hitting a wall is one thing, but when I was playing it, we kept doing the same things over and over again, and it's true. Like I noted that in like an earlier podcast where we talked about like a lot of the stuff you hear is true, and that was one of the complaints people had, and it's true. But the other thing is, when you're playing it cooperatively with people, you have your three classes: the Hunter, the Titan Warlock. I only know Hunter because Hunters like to just murder everybody in Crucible.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
But whenever I was playing the game, I always felt like I can like. It wasn't. I want like a shooter where it's compulsory that you play with a friend.
It could be so much more.
Like you could you can get through this by yourself. That's pretty much what Destiny is.
Yeah.
Like, where's the strategy in that? Where is the strategy? Where's the planning? Where's the quick thought process that you can have? Like, so if you have like a Titan Warlock and a Hunter, and you're like, okay, I want you to go up here and put up your shield down here. I want you to go down over here, and I want you to put up a turret. I want you to do this, and we're gonna flood them and bottleneck this entire section. You can't do that. You can't do that.
I can probably count on one hand the number of times we've actually done like specific class thing. Like I've gone to flank, you've gone to tank, and Richard is.
You can't do that, and you can't do that in a lot of games now. Like Lee, even when like you and myself and like Ken and John, we would always play Call of Duty. We couldn't do it then either, because that's just like a Twitch shooter.
Yeah, you don't really need like a strategy if you're just playing in like I mean, you can take it to the degree of like an actual professional like Call of Duty match and have like sight lines and specific spots you're supposed to be and specific jobs you're supposed to do. But then you're playing the other team and they're not doing anything. It's kind of like an NHL team playing a beer league team, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, you're probably gonna crush them, but I mean. What's the point, right? Like, it's you don't even need to coordinate.
But if you get like Blizzard and they do something like Overwatch where the classes are built to, like, you cannot
to mesh, like
you cannot win the game if all of you play as this class.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
One thing, okay, everyone get your shot glasses ready. But when we played Mass Effect, we actually kind of strategized.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, so like Lee, you're bang on. Like like that's why like I'm kind of getting sick of the video game industry and how we've talked about this before on the podcast, like shoehorning in multiplayer into everything. But that I feel like people are kind of getting away from. They're not really shoehorning in multiplayer anymore. Now as people are shoehorning in cooperative play and just making it, oh look, you can play with your friends.
Yeah. I get that vibe.
Like you can I can play like so. Like, I can play with my friends, that's fine, but I'll do it for like a week when I realize I could easily play this by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are people who don't like playing with their friends. They like playing games on their own. That's fine. I'm like that too. But there's the odd game. Like look at Mass Effect. The two of us, or the three of us, played that game nonstop for like 2 years.
So many hours.
The amount of hours that were put
An
in.
embarrassing amount of hours.
So much fun though.
It's actually unfair how many hours you put into that game. Except for my N7 level, doesn't really reflect it.
Well, yeah, your N7 level's terrible.
Shut up. Running joke on NERDcast.
Oh yeah.
But I can't remember how they were talking up Assassin's Creed Unity, but now you can't really get a proper face going.
Yeah, I heard that there's a lot of bad things with that too.
But like
just a handful.
But
Really.
they kept talking about, oh, you can have assassins that are you could play with friends and you can all be assassins. Okay, but what unique thing can you do with that?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really promote any type of teamwork at all. Battlefield, I would say, is the closest shooter right now where it does promote teamwork.
Yeah.
PlanetSide 2.
Yeah.
That promoted some form of teamwork.
Yeah, until it kind of got out of hand. But anyway, that's another
that's
discussion.
why I stopped playing. But there really isn't much in the way of like, if Overwatch wants to succeed, in my opinion, it has to show like, okay, we're not just going to take this and put it in because, hey, look, you can play with friends. There are so many games out there that allow you to play with friends. So many games that allow you to like sit on a couch or sit on your computer and network with your friends and play the game. But there's nothing that allows you to do there's very little that allows you to actually like strategize and like I'm not talking about like the long like drawn out strategy where you guys have to sit in like a lobby for 20 minutes and plan it out, where you can actually make quick decisions on the fly. But but when you look at it from the outside, you see like, and you can actually be very happy, like, oh my god, our plan worked. We bottlenecked this tunnel, we destroyed this door, we took over every control point, and we set it up so that we don't have to do much to actually get them to try to take it back. When in Call of Duty, you're going to take the control point, you're going to run to get the next one, and then yours is going to be taken away all the time. Like, look, Will, whenever we
welcome to Destiny multiplayer.
That's Destiny multiplayer, and like that is the perfect definition of Destiny multiplayer.
Well, I mean, like when you're talking about professional Call of Duty, and I don't actually like consider myself an authority on this, but I know a little bit about it. But I mean, that's what they're talking about when they're talking about map control, right? Like you know where you can manipulate the spawn points, you can manipulate where the people are going to be coming from, and you can kind of have like some sort of semblance of predictability to this Twitch shooter, right?
Yeah, that's a really big thing in StarCraft too, like forcing your opponent into the engage.
But that's professional Call of Duty, though. Like, what if we had a game where that was pretty much what you had to do in general as like a gamer? You don't have to be a professional to want to do that.
Yeah, a game that fosters like competitive, highly competitive cooperativeness with your team to achieve a goal.
Like, what's the biggest advancement in any type of multiplayer that does not include online play? Because online play, like, that's pretty much just like a given. My say is GoldenEye, where you could actually play against your friends in a shooter. We haven't really advanced any further than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Like, instead of just like advancing the online medium, we just went, instead of like split screen being on the same screen, now you're playing against somebody else somewhere else, right?
Except you can even say it's worse when it's online, because how many times you get kicked out of a game when you're playing online compared to like split screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, now you got to worry about so many more things than just somebody picking odd job.
Very true. Very true. But I'm just going on with like, there hasn't been like I'm lying. There has been attempts at it, but none that have been very successful. Because I actually look at it as like the Apple effect, where you know how like everyone will try new things, but they don't have the marketing push, they don't have the pedigree that allows them to do it. But then Apple comes out with a smartphone, and then everyone follows, and now smartphones are the norm. You get a big company like Blizzard that is well renowned in the gaming industry. They've created an MMO that has lasted 10 years. Like it was like
Blizzard has created the MMO.
yeah, like it's created World of Warcraft. It has StarCraft,
I think
Hearthstone.
Blizzard
Diablo.
basically controls esports right now.
Yeah, Blizzard
Yeah,
and
pretty
Riot
much.
Games and all of them. They pretty much own all of that, and they have the pedigree to basically come up with the game. Fosters all this competitive multiplayer where you have to work together, and you don't have to be a professional team. You can get
Well, that's like-
3 or 4 friends together and just go and strategize, and you learn stuff. You learn how to work well with others.
Yeah, that ties into like Blizzard's whole motto when it comes to gaming: easy to learn, difficult to master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I don't want to have to be like, oh, in order to do this, you have to be a professional StarCraft player. Because I'm not going to be a professional StarCraft player. I'm not going to be a professional Overwatch player. I don't want to be.
But
I
we're
want
gonna have fun.
I want to go on to my PC, play with you guys, and we can just quickly strategize, and we can feel like we're accomplishing something instead of just running around in circles, getting a headshot, getting a kill, and
It's sort of
capturing
like
top.
how if you were
Destiny.
like, okay, I want to play, like, I don't want to play in the major leagues, but I also don't want to play in some sort of lob ball, beer league pitch, like, boring baseball game where it's just like, yeah, you're not really doing much, and somebody who's 40 years old and 50 pounds overweight and hasn't ran since high school can still play this game, right? I want to play against somebody who's somewhat on my skill level and is taking it at least a little bit seriously.
Yeah, another thing is Blizzard's really good about their matchmaking too. Just in any game I've played from them.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, like, if there's anybody that's going to tackle this kind of multiplayer game, it's going to be Blizzard. Blizzard's the one that can pull it off.
Yeah.
I would even say Blizzard or Valve.
I'd say
but
Blizzard.
Valve's kind of getting out of the actual game making.
That's true.
Business.
Half-Life 3 has not been confirmed yet. No,
I don't
like,
know, maybe.
I just
There's clues.
I just get very frustrated with the state of the gaming industry about how there's nothing new where they'll like, and it goes to show, like, if you go on like Reddit or if you look at like the PC gaming scene, the PC, like, see, I'm more of a console gamer. I'm not even denying that at all, but I'm not stupid. Jury's out. But like the PC, a lot of the innovation is happening on a PC, if not all of it.
Oh
Yeah.
And like, look at first-person shooters. They were big on PC, and then it came to console, and then we did all this stuff. You get a game like Battlefield, which had like that showed like a large-scale first-person shooters can work, and they did, and now we have them on console. Why don't we have a company create a cooperative multiplayer game that isn't just, hey, you can play with your friends? How about, hey, you can play with your friends, actually learn how to play with people?
I think it's the same sort of thing that we were talking about with ARGs, where it's like the infrastructure isn't there, right? Like it's a technical aspect that's holding it back, not so much the want or the need to do it.
I actually don't even think there's like a technical aspect around it. I just think it's like a design aspect where the technology's there, but they don't have, like, someone hasn't come up with a unique way of designing it.
Well, that's the thing, because Blizzard is actually like stretching out into different platforms like now, right? We got Diablo 3 on the PlayStation, and we got Hearthstone on the iPad. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, see, there are rumors that Overwatch, Overwatch is going to be in beta next year, right? Is that it? And it's going to be on the PC.
Sign up for beta while you can.
Yeah, I might do that, but like, it's going to be on the PC, right?
Yeah.
I heard rumors that there might be coming to console.
I would be happy with that.
I would be happy with that too. Like, primarily as a console gamer, I would not be opposed to that at all.
No.
But if they pull it off and they create a game that fosters cooperative play and encourages it, that could be a game changer. Like, very few cooperative games I want to play. Like, Mass Effect was the last one I wanted. Like, I looked forward every day coming home from school, playing with you guys, jumping on and getting killed by Praetorians. Fuck those Praetorians. But
so much fun.
But getting killed by them. But now, like, Will would send me a message asking me if I want to play Destiny. I would send Will a message saying, like, hey, you want to play some Destiny? I don't care anymore. I really don't care, because I'm literally going be doing the same thing over and over again. I'll be doing another Crucible match. I'm going to be leveling up my character, and it's a grind.
Well, I was gonna say you could also say that if you're gonna argue like that cooperative gameplay it could also fix the community, because right now the community overwhelming for any game is toxic, right? Like you can play Call of Duty, or at least the big games, you can play
You're cutting
them,
it just a
and
little bit short there, Lee. It's a little bit more.
it's like people like are downright mean to each other, right? And so if you're making it so that you have to work with a teammate, I guess you're still going to get the, oh, well, this guy's terrible, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, like, you have the incentive to actually
work together,
help another person, right?
Yeah.
I went on a rant to myself like a few weeks ago.
I want good things to happen.
The game industry is just, it's so stagnant right now. And
it isn't. It isn't.
Like no, like it's more like it's stagnant in terms
the mentality
of
is
trying to, like, in terms of like the technology, it's not stagnant. We're always coming out with new technology. Like Nvidia's pushing graphics, AMD's pushing graphics, Sony and Microsoft are pushing the living room setup. But in terms of game design, you don't see a lot of, like, you see maybe a few games here and there, like maybe 1 or 2 games a year. Like the last big game that really changed my way about game design was Journey.
Yeah.
There were so many little things in Journey that were not done in anywhere else.
That's an indie game, right? Like you're going to get into the argument of the AAA. I'm not going to argue at all that the AAA game market is totally stagnant. It's almost going backwards at this point. But I mean, if you want something,
I wouldn't say it's going backwards. I would say it's literally just stopping and going sideways and making you pay money to go back to a certain direction.
But it's like, pay money to go back to doing good things.
Yep.
Pay $5 to do this.
Open an app on your phone to unlock nice things.
Yeah, watch an ad to get more go back to good things bucks.
Go to our website to learn the freaking story.
And that's why, like, I'm talking about, like, how the technology is there. Because you get these indie developers who are using technology that, like, there are technology that AAA developers are using. Like, let's use Uncharted 4 for an example. That game looks amazing. The way everything from what I've seen, not much, but like the way like Nathan Drake looks, the way that the technology that's being used, that's only used by Sony Computer Entertainment America, or Sony in general.
Mm-hmm.
An indie developer is not going to be able to use that, so they're not using the latest technology.
Well,
they're using
you can have access to the Unreal Engine.
Well, yeah, that's true. The Unreal Engine, I think, is free for education now, or something along those lines. Or is it free for everybody?
Well, I don't know if it's free. It might be, but I know it's, if you're actually looking to develop, like become a game developer, a game designer, it's affordable. Even if it's going to be just you. Yes, like you can use Source.
The Source engine's there, but it's more just like the technology's there. It's just the way you manipulate it and interact with it, and the way you design it. That's where people are coming from. Mm-hmm. You can make a shooter that looks so photorealistic I will never be able to tell the difference, but it's a piece of crap. Where it's the same game as 8 years ago, Call of Duty. But then you get a game like Journey, where it's and it's not even like they're designing it in such an extravagant way. It's the subtle design changes. Like that actually, in like Journey was one of the examples of how it like cooperative play was an integral part of the experience. Like, yes, you can play it on your own, but you feel different when you play it with people.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're gonna even look at Journey, you could also say that it has everything that is in bad games now. It's on rails. You can't choose where you go. There's very limited input, right? You have to press like 2 buttons. There's literally no dialogue in the game. There's no story or anything in terms of printed, like a printed thing. There's no
script.
Like, yeah, you could argue that in any, like, I think that has to do with I don't know. It seems like it's the difference between like an art house movie and a blockbuster movie, right? Like you have the same sort of thing going on with video games, whereas it's made for a different purpose, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's kind of funny that Journey is technically not an indie game.
Yeah.
It was
We're
made
not
by.
getting,
It isn't. It
we're
isn't.
not getting into that again.
Yeah, we're not gonna
into
get
that
we're not
again.
gonna get into that.
But
But
yeah,
just game design. It's like game design is just going backwards in the majority of the industry. But the smaller, the little guys are pushing it forward. But it's like trying to push 1,000,000 pounds of idiot up a mountain. They're trying to push their way. They're trying to push the game industry forward. But the game industry, the actual like AAA game industry, is keep just like, no, we're just gonna stay here.
well, and they have an incentive to stay there because people keep paying money for them to stay there.
I know. I hate the world. I hate it.
Well, I know. I mean, to end on a positive note,
Yeah,
hopefully
find it.
Overwatch can cure some of these things, and it'll be
Overwatch save gaming.
it'll be a soiree of sorts for a big developer to venture into doing something risky and potentially changing the way games are going. So I guess we've kind of beaten that topic into the ground. Even though we didn't really talk much about Overwatch, it spawned a good discussion.
Yeah.
I
I have something important to tell you guys, though.
It did
Okay.
like we kept talking about Overwatch because Overwatch was undercurrent in that whole thing.
Yes. About what you were going to say, Will.
Picked up Dragon Age Inquisition a little while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Been playing a bit of the multiplayer. And you know how we always wanted in the single player, or in Mass Effect multiplayer, for the different classes to do different things,
Right.
like involving the map, like hacking something or
Yeah.
bioticking something. They actually do that in Inquisition. Like if you have a warrior, you can smash down a wall and get to a different quest, or if you have a rogue, you can pick a lock, or if you have a mage, you can do magic.
If you're a mage, you can do mage things.
Is this for
Yeah,
the
so
multiplayer or?
This is the multiplayer.
Oh.
Yeah. So they're running the same engine for Mass Effect 4, so I have good hopes for it. Good hopes for that multiplayer and more hours wasted.
It's Frostbite too, right?
Yeah, think so.
Good.
So I guess the next thing is there were two significant trailers released.
Yes.
Let's talk about the one I think that has less behind it. Let's talk about the Jurassic World trailer. I'm assuming both of you saw it.
Yep, I saw it.
Human dinosaur hybrids, I'm calling it right now.
I don't think that's going to happen.
That was kind of.
That was the original plan for it.
Yeah, I heard that.
So
I
genetically
saw concept
modified
art for it.
super dinosaur. That's like that has the potential of being so freaking awesome, or just so like really.
Well, I mean,
Really?
when you look at it in terms of the original movie, the original Jurassic Park,
It's been so long since I've seen it.
the theme of the movie was: should we be doing this? Should we be toying with nature?
Yeah.
Right.
The resounding answer from Jeff Goldblum was fuck no.
Yes.
Also, if Jeff Goldblum does not have a cameo in this movie, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Oh yes, Jeff Goldblum should just have a cameo in everything. But
Yes.
Everything should be Jeff Goldblum.
And speaking of that, did you hear that there is Independence Day 2 coming out?
Yep, with the lack
Yep.
of Will Smith, which I don't really care about.
It's in 2 parts.
Oh my, is it?
Yeah.
I didn't
Are you
hear
kidding
that.
me? Or are you serious right
Yeah,
now?
it's a 2-part movie.
I don't know what to think about that. But anyway, back to
That
back to
does
Jurassic
not
Park.
deserve a 2-part movie.
But okay, yeah. The theme of the original Jurassic Park was: should we be toying with nature? Should something like this actually be done? And then Jeff Goldblum's line, read and acted beautifully, I might add, is like, you didn't stop to think, or I'm going to butcher it, but it's like, you didn't stop to think if not that we should do it or that we can do it,
We could
but that we
do
should
it,
do it,
but
right?
Should.
Yes, that's what it was. I told you I'd butcher it. But
Yeah.
but yes, it seems like the Jurassic World is somewhat getting back to that, right? Like it's they've built the park, they've obviously done everything that they've gone against Jeff Goldblum, unabashedly gone against him. They might as well just have Jurassic World fuck Jeff Goldblum on the banner, right? So, right? So now I could see that as the theme of that coming back into it, like, because now they're genetically modifying the dinosaurs, right? Not even bringing them back, they're changing them. And it could be the same sort of theme of, like, should we be doing this, right? Should we be toying with nature? And I mean, if that's the actual theme, I can see a movie building that's not just dinosaurs, rah! Sell money and toys.
Movie. God, that thing was a train wreck.
I saw it, and I remember the Spinosaurus was awesome, but that's literally all I remember from it.
Talking about Jurassic Park 3, right?
Yeah.
I've never seen that one.
Don't watch it. It's not worth it. There's no Jeff Goldblum.
Man, Jeff Goldblum,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about him, but I would marry him.
Speaking of things that people that should be in everything and people that I would marry, Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Yes,
looking very good in this movie.
Yeah.
I just love how, like, in the trailer, it's so simple. It's an obvious line, and it's so straight to the point. You just make a genetic dinosaur hybrid? Probably not a good idea. I'm like, you're literally saying what everyone's thinking, and this is why I love you. You are the mother from The Room.
I saw.
Does he have cancer?
I saw a very important thing on the internet. Jurassic Parks and Rec. Andy Dwyer.
Well, it was funny because after I saw the Jurassic World trailer, all I could think of was just like, oh damn it, I don't remember the line. Oh, Macklin, you son of a bitch. But yeah, I was not looking forward to the Jurassic World. I was thinking that it's going to be meh, but now I think it could actually be a decent movie. Just from that trailer, I'm looking kind of. It's my interest is somewhat picked up off the bottom of the graph.
Oh, Jamie wants to see it. We were out for dinner on the weekend, and she was like, "So Jurassic World, Jurassic World," end of conversation.
NERDcast field trip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of the NERDcast field trip, I know, Will, I think you've seen it, or you were going to see it.
I haven't yet, actually.
I don't know if, Danny, you've seen it. We were talking about that sometime when we get together next, we could do a NERDcast field trip to see Interstellar in IMAX.
Oh, okay.
What, have you seen it already?
I've seen it, yeah, but I would definitely go see it.
We were talking about, it's like, even if we've seen it, we'll just see it again.
I want to see it again. It's like my favorite science fiction movie. Not without its problems.
Yeah.
There's definite problems. Like, I definitely have a bone to pick with a few of the story choices.
It seems to be like Christopher Nolan's thing. It's like, yeah, the movie's awesome, but it had a few things wrong with it. But I really didn't give a shit.
Yeah, no, that's actually a very, very, very fair assessment. Oh, no, yeah, let's go. Sometime in December, I feel like.
Yeah. But, anyway, I guess we can move on to the next trailer. Star Wars.
There's one thing I want to bring up about Jurassic World.
Okay. Back that up.
Was Chris Pratt riding a motorcycle with the fake velociraptors? Because that seems really awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, he was.
Will they have genetically modified the velociraptors to be good guys in this movie?
Or maybe Chris Pratt has trained them.
Oh, damn.
He's so badass, he trained a velociraptor. Velociraptors.
I'm disappointed they don't have feathers.
They did in Jurassic Park 3.
They did?
But then, yeah. Well, they added them in. Covered in feathers.
So it was
Still
like they just George Lucas the shit out of them.
Pretty much, yeah.
We'll just add that in post. But and speaking of that, okay, let's Star Wars. What do we think of that?
I'm just gonna go. Okay, first off, we're gonna be talking about this at some point in this discussion. I don't really have a problem with that lightsaber.
Damn, I want that thing.
I think it could have been done differently. I don't have a problem with them like modifying lightsabers. I think that particular design is really dumb.
Yeah.
No, see, because here's the thing. When I think of Star Wars, I really don't think of lightsabers as the make or break thing, like some people are saying. I'm more, is it a good space film? Science fiction film? Does it actually have a coherent plot?
Yeah.
Are there trade negotiations?
Maybe.
By the way,
is there sand everywhere?
Will Jar Jar be
Is
making
it
a comeback?
coarse and rough? Do you hate it?
No, anyway,
And
okay.
have you guys seen the George Lucas trailer of it?
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah.
I could not stop crying when I watched that because it just
It was good.
the dark side and trade negotiations.
But no, I back to the lightsaber. I think I get that they were going for like a sort of hilt, like an old sword
Claymore.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean like, and I guess it kind of solves my problem. It's just like, you know how they get into like where they lock lightsabers and it's like, wow, it's really cool. It was just like, why wouldn't you just like grind right down and cut their heads off like every single time? Like that would be my move. Like it'd be like, we finally get to battle, and then we just like lock lightsabers, and I just cut you, and it's like, yep, that battle lasted quite a while because
It makes,
you just
makes
lost
it
all
so
your
much
fingers.
easier to kill Count Dooku if you did that. Anakin would not have had his arm cut off in episode 2.
Yeah.
But no,
I don't
really
think that
love
was
the
a
trailer.
movie. That doesn't exist. Anyway, new Star Wars.
No. See, the unfortunate thing is because of the way Disney's doing it, those movies do exist.
So is there metachlorians
No.
in this one?
I certainly hope not, but they
There
do exist.
probably will be.
I'm trying to think of what else there was. Do you want to talk about
This thing with the Falcon and the satellite dish? That was cool.
what?
How in episode 6, the Millennium Falcon was like flying around, the satellite dish got knocked off, and then the trailer has a new satellite dish.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Oh yeah, someone was talking about it on the online. I didn't notice it either. But the thing that like this trailer was perfect in that it teased the film. It gave pretty much nothing away in terms of story.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of don't really want to watch any other trailer anymore for it. I kind of want to go in like I got the
Just going
tease. I
blind?
saw how it's gonna go. I saw that the nostalgia has been brought back, even though I don't really get how it'd be nostalgia for us because we weren't around when the good movies were made.
Yeah.
But I think we're all smart enough people to realize that they were better than the prequels.
Anything
monkeys.
is better than the prequels. Chinese water torture is better than the prequels.
Ooh, very
Is the
true.
room better than the prequels?
Yes.
Yes.
Even unironically, it's better.
The Room actually had a coherent plot.
No, it didn't.
No. Hear me out.
Oh no.
I sort of understood what was happening compared to Star Wars, where I was like, what the hell have these trade negotiations have to do with anything at all?
It
So
didn't
I
have
at
subtle
least-
racism. The Room didn't either.
Yep. There was they didn't set ethnicities back 50 years, like they did with like Jar Jar and the trade people.
I guess. Do you want to talk about the whole controversy? I use that term loosely about how it's like what's his name, John Boyega, I think his name is.
Yeah.
The main, like, he's been pretty much starring in it. How they were like, oh, it was a black guy in a stormtrooper outfit. What a blah blah blah. And all the racists came out of the woodwork.
I can end this discussion right now by just saying, seriously, people, grow up, get over yourself, go home, and don't talk to me ever.
And you know what? It was funny because I was like, I made the mistake, and this is me making this mistake, of listening to something that happened in the prequels. Because the prequels, obviously, there was outrage because it's like, there were no black stormtroopers because they were all clones of Jango Fett, so they all look like that, right? They all look like him. But, if you remember, the prequels don't exist, and in the original Star Wars, they said that they started recruiting people, not just having clones. So it was anybody could be a stormtrooper.
Well,
That's also why stormtroopers were taller than some of the other ones. They were different heights and sizes.
You're going on the idea that the prequels don't exist. I consider the prequels like those 3 years, or the 4 years in high school that didn't matter. They exist. They're there. You didn't. There were a few good things. The Darth Maul fight, for instance, the Anakin Obi-Wan fight in the third one.
That was a good fight.
The musical score in the first and third ones. Notice how I'm completely neglecting the second one at all.
Yeah.
Those like they were there, so we have to acknowledge their existence because.
Okay, yes.
Unfortunately,
let's look at this. Okay, you don't need the first movie at all. You can cut the first movie out.
No, you don't.
It's pointless. It was the worst. But besides that, even if it was the best, the storyline is totally unnecessary. Darth Maul, and I will admit that he was pretty badass. And I promised myself we wouldn't get into a prequel debate, but here we are.
No.
We're not really getting into a debate about it because they sucked. They were terrible.
Too late, Danny. This is a debate.
But I mean, if Darth Maul was pretty awesome, but you don't need to know that Darth Vader had there was somebody before him. You don't need to know that. You might know that there was, but you don't need to know who he is. You don't need to know Qui-Gon Jinn because he's kind of irrelevant, right? Like, you don't need to know anything. You can pick up at where the second movie is and just save yourself an hour and a half of terribleness, and for some reason want to watch 2-3 hours more of terribleness, but anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, when you get the prequels, and let's just say that they do exist in a world that we don't want to consider them existing in it anymore, even if they were like, oh, they were all clones of Jango Fett. Remember in the first film, A New Hope, where Luke wanted to go join the Imperial Navy.
Yes.
It's now literally just, like, after the Clone Wars, after all that shit happened, it's now, it's a literal army now. The Empire is so big, you can have a literal army, and seriously, anyone can join.
Yep, that was clearly stated in the original movies. And see, that's the advantage of them being sequels to the original movies, not because now you can more so go off of them rather than what the prequels said.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm glad they're taking more from the original trilogy now than the prequels.
I think that in a perfect world, and you know what, I actually don't want this to happen, but in my movie that would be basically like giving the middle finger to the prequels, I would have something about like, there would be this in the middle of this battle, and he would be like, stop and be like, wait, I have to check my midichlorian count, and be like, what does that even matter? It's just fight.
See, I think this is where it gets kind of weird. So George Lucas introduced midichlorians in the prequels. I think in the expanded universe, they actually made them a little bit more relevant, and then Disney went and wiped the expanded universe off the map.
They shouldn't even exist. It shouldn't be a thing. It's because the Force was set up as something that was like, it was supposed to be like a religious like attachment to it, right?
Yep.
It was supposed to be a metaphor for that. And then you just made some sort of bullshit pseudoscience and attached it to it.
Yeah, the prequels in a perfect world would not exist.
I mean, like, it is a cool story. And I mean, like, that's the strong points of the prequels were the points that we already knew before they were made. Right? Anakin was supposed to be the hero of the Force. He turned to the dark side, right? He turned against Obi-Wan. They obviously had a fight somewhere in there. That's part of the subtext of the story, right? It was like we all knew that was happening.
They added their own bullshit,
right? So anything that was cool was because we already knew it.
That's very true.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I'm just.
I didn't want to do this. I was just like, okay, we're not going to mention Mass Effect. We're not
This is
going to
not
talk
what
about
I
the prequels.
intended.
But no, see, here's the thing. It's kind of like the weirdest debate ever because we're debating, even though we're all in agreement that the prequels are absolute shit.
But how shit are they?
No, that's not part of the debate.
The nerdiest question.
They are shit.
That's sort of like if a tree falls in the woods, can you hear it? That's like the nerd equivalent is, how shitty were the prequels?
And I don't know how like you guys felt, but it was kind of those weird things I remember when I first saw the prequels, I liked them.
Oh, everybody liked them. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, and And then you think about it.
You think about all the illogical shit that people were talking about. You hear what other people have to say about it, and you're just like, you know what?
You stop just watching them, and then you think about them.
It's how I felt with Destiny, except I don't hate Destiny.
No, it's fun, and I hate it.
Destiny didn't shit on an entire beloved franchise.
Destiny just kind of avoided creating a franchise.
In the
So close.
the Star Wars prequels to all of us is the Mass Effect 3 ending to a small group of people.
Yeah, I get that. I don't really see
Like
that
I
myself,
personally
but
had no problem with the Mass Effect 3 ending, but
it wasn't
whatever.
I
good,
didn't mind the ending.
but it wasn't insulting.
Compared to the rest of the game, it was not on par, but it was.
It was an ending.
But that's like the other thing, like that I'm like going for. And as much as you can hate it, it's still there. Like so many people hated the Mass Effect 3 ending that were going on. Like you need to write a new ending. You need to change it. You need to do this. See, you can hate it. You can despise it. It could make no sense. It could literally be a Deus Ex Machina. It can do all this crap that makes no sense in terms of the story at all. But unfortunately, it's there. And some of you will like it. In the case of the Mass Effect 3 ending, I didn't care. You guys didn't care, but a lot of people did. And just like the Star Wars prequels, 99% of us can hate it. You two hate it. I hate it. Any sane person will hate it. Anyone with a brain will hate it. A monkey who can type can hate it.
So you've narrowed it down to George Lucas is the only person not left in this group.
George Lucas and maybe a few members of his family.
Anyone who has to live at his ranch.
Maybe some of the writers who potentially put some ideas out towards those films. I can't think of anybody. So George Lucas.
See, the problem wasn't that they were just bad. They can be bad. The problem was that they ruined the rest of the movies.
Yeah. No, it's true, but I look at when you watch the original trilogy and then you watch the prequel trilogy. If I'm watching the original trilogy with knowledge that the prequels exist, I'm always like, oh, so in the 20 years since the original trilogy, people have smartened up. Like, oh, so they now consider it a religious thing. It's not bullshit science, bullshit pseudoscience. They don't mention it anymore because it doesn't matter. If that makes sense.
I have this sudden urge to go watch Mark's Lego Star Wars playthrough.
When he just kills Jar Jar Binks over and over again?
Yeah.
Because that's allowed in the world?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that they'll actually have the balls to bring back Jar Jar for a cameo?
No.
For our sanity and for Mark's sake, I hope not.
If they do it, I can only see them doing it in... It would have to be in an ironic, self-aware
I think that would backfire. I think that they could literally kill a Gungan on screen and it would still cause outrage. And it wouldn't be he would be in the plot. It would just be like a big fight, and all of a sudden it would pan into like one of the characters like looking down the sight or having and he fires a laser, and then it just turns to the Gungan is there and dies, and that's it. And then it just goes back to the battle. I think that would still cause outrage. I mean, people would still hate that.
There's nothing we can do. Apart from not ever show a Gungan again and pretend that it doesn't exist.
That'll probably still
just
create
like I do with
outrage.
the sequel or the prequels.
So, Star Wars trailer.
Yeah, the
It's a great trailer.
Okay, let's get past our let's bury our hatchet here. We have with the prequels. And the teaser trailer itself, it was interesting. However, I watched the analysis.
Really good.
The analysis that I saw pointed out that there was nothing in space. It was all on a planet or near a planet. There was no open space thing.
And that does worry me because look at what J.J. Abrams did with Star Trek. He took out what was great about Star Trek, and that was space exploration. But granted, that was a movie, not a 27 episode a season, 7-season TV show.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So, like, I do worry in that, like, if you watch a lot of J.J. Abrams movies, he has some, like, there's a style that he does where he likes to keep it all very tight.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't really venture out further than what it is. Like in Star Trek, a lot of it took place on the bridge, a lot of it took place on Earth, a lot of it in Into Darkness, a lot of it took place on Kronos, a lot of it took place on Vulcan in the first one, not in the second one because it's destroyed. Spoiler warning.
Wow.
Damn it, Danny.
I tried, but I failed. I failed you all.
I've watched that scene too many times.
But I'm just like saying, like, I'm worried it's going to be like it'll be like Tatooine, and that's it. Or that forest that
The forest moon
sure
of
that was
Endor?
Adam Driver. No, the forest in the trailer.
Oh. Dude, that's another question. Are Ewoks going to be in this movie?
But hold on, Ewoks were
better
the
be.
original trilogy, even though they were clearly just put in there to sell toys. But they were still in the original trilogy.
I would also like to point out that E.T.'s species was in the original trilogy.
What was that, or was that?
That was
when
in the
they were?
prequels.
Yeah, that was the prequels. I thought.
Or,
That
yeah,
was.
sorry.
Yeah, that
Right,
was
sorry.
in the Senate chamber.
My brain just sports balled for a second there.
Speaking of sports ball, I have to go and watch the football game, but so I have to wrap this up pretty soon.
I have an NHL Game Center subscription, which also listeners, if you remember my horrid Game Center rant that I had about six weeks ago.
It's getting worse, but anyway, continue.
Actually, for NHL Game Center, I get to watch 99% of the games now.
But they have Mark Messier on their commercials.
Oh, but this is the best part because I don't really have cable. I don't have to watch the commercials.
But Mark Messier. I just picture, like, every time I see these commercials with Mark Messier, I just picture it's like, and cut, and then he just, like, loses his fake smile and just goes to a huge scowl, and then he just, like, puts his hand in another, like, actor that's on the screen, like a small child. He just puts his hand in his face and pushes him out of the way. And it's just like, this kid was Mark Messier's biggest fan, and he's just like, I don't have time for you. And then he goes to his trailer on a commercial shoot, a Rogers commercial shoot.
Yeah.
That's what I picture.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is like, I've been able to watch every Leafs game except for 2. I can't watch any games on TSN.
Why
Luckily,
you'd want to watch them, I have no idea, but anyway.
Because I have hope. Oh God, I'm sounding like Mark. I have hope in the world.
Just abandon the hope, Danny. It's not worth it.
No, but they're doing well. For now.
For now.
At some point. Hey, as a loyal fan, I will support them to the end.
Okay. I guess, yeah.
Like,
So there's our few minutes allotment of sports ball talk that we're allowed on Nerdcast.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that there are less blackouts now because Rogers owns it. I can watch all the Leafs games on Sportsnet. The only thing I cannot watch is TSN.
I guess that's good. But,
yeah.
I guess in conclusion, both of the trailers look promising. However, trailers don't necessarily reveal anything.
No, it was literally a teaser, and it did what I wanted, and now I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm still cautiously optimistic.
I like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We've talked about everything we want to talk about, right?
Yep. I would say that this was a good conversation.
Episode 36 is in the books. Hopefully we can move closer towards a more regular schedule, but no guarantees.
Listeners, I am still in school. Lee just got a new job, and Will is still in school.
Yeah.
And Will lives in the frozen tundra that is our nation's capital right now.
Yeah.
So cold.
But
I had my window open yesterday. It was like 6 degrees.
He's in shorts and a t-shirt. Woof. It's hot in here.
It's very rare in countries, but only in Canada, can -1 around this time of year be considered? Hey, it's
freaking balmy.
Yeah, it's balmy
See,
outside.
in-
Hey guys,
in
I can wear a hood.
Here's how it goes. 10 in the fall is like you need a sweater. 10 in the spring, you're wearing sandals.
Canada has a warped perception of weather.
Canada doesn't believe in temperature. It's all relative.
But anyway, thanks for listening. And I guess we'll see you next
Thanks for listening
time.
to all of our stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Have a good day.
See ya.
Have a good night. So long, farewell.